One other question. I heard you address the existence of a God. You may have addressed this earlier, but what is your claim for the existence of the Christian God versus some other unnamed deity?
Great question. You're right. Earlier, I talked about the evidence for the existence of God. Right now, you're asking the next logical question, which is fine. So there's some type of God, some type of intelligent mind who creates the order and design. But who is this God? What is this God like? I mean, I doubt you've had a coffee with God, Cliff. You're right. I never have had coffee with God. So how am I going to know God? I can't see him. I can't audibly hear him. Well, here's the parallel. How am I going to know you? I'm only going to know you if you choose to open up and reveal to me who you are, what you like, what you dislike. If you lie to me, or if you remain silent, I'm never going to have the privilege of getting to know you. There will never be a relationship. A relationship demands people opening up and revealing who they are to another person. Same with God. God has to open up. Otherwise, I'm not going to know God. That's where Jesus Christ, Muhammad, the avatars of Hinduism, step into the picture. They all claim to be revealing God accurately. The problem is they contradict each other. So they're either all wrong or one of them's right. But they can't all be right because they contradict each other. So why would I trust Jesus Christ to tell me the truth about God? Because the historical evidence of his ethical teachings, like the Sermon on the Mount, the way he treated people, the way he died, loving and forgiving his enemies, not cursing his enemies the way I would have, but most importantly, sir, the way 3 days after he dies, he rises from the dead. That combination of teaching, lifestyle, the way he died, the way he rose from the dead, those 4 points convince me that he is reliable. To put it bluntly, if you die and rise from the dead, I promise to listen very carefully to everything you have to say. Why? Because it's evidence you're reliable.
There's various other historical accounts throughout various religions of almost identical stories. For example, one of the Egyptian deities who was equivalent sort of to Jesus did the same process of dying, rising from the grave, etc. So that doesn't seem to select him as a special case.
Okay, so study that example. It's Osiris, right? So Osiris dies, his body is cut up into 14 different pieces. And what happens is, his sister comes, finds 13 of the 14 pieces, puts them back together, and then he lives a shadowy existence in the underworld. First point, that's written in the literary style, not a historical narrative, but a mythology. Second point, it's not a physical bodily resurrection. It's the sister putting 13 of the 14 parts back together again, and then Osiris lives in a shadowy underworld. All of that is in clear contradiction to the Gospels, which insist Jesus died, he was buried, 3 days later he rose from the dead, and he walks up to Thomas and says, right here, my man, take your hands and put them in the nail prints in my hands, take your hand and thrust it in the spear in my side, and Thomas stopped doubting and believed. That's not written in the literary style of mythology, that's written in the literary style of historical narrative. And what it's claiming is a physical bodily resurrection, not a spiritual resurrection, a physical resurrection, which he convinces Thomas of by saying right here, grab hold of me, see the nail prints.
I'm also sure you get this